Thank you, Mr. Rettig, for being here today. It's great to see you again. I'd like to have some additional conversation around the ERTC issue that's going on across the country. A lot of companies, I was in small business 35 years, certainly understand the importance of, the relief that Congress gave, and unfortunately much of that relief didn't get to the businesses, but they had the exposure to the tax. And, they were struggling, and we've talked to accountants and companies about the issues facing the ERTC issue. The main issue companies are faced with now, though, is the amended quarterly federal tax return, the Form 941. Companies are filing their 941 on time and then filing the amended 941 because payroll companies don't have the bandwidth to get the information needed in time for the 941 filings. In these cases, companies will be filing their April 22 returns with reduced wages, but they still have not received the checks for the ERTC credit. Ultimately, what this means is taxpayers are paying tax on income they have never received. Not only are small businesses liable for the tax on reduced wages, but are also liable for the safe harbor on their estimated taxes, which is inflated due to the reduced wages. We've even heard shocking instances of companies having to go take out short-term loans to pay their quarterly estimates or their liability that's due until they receive their credits from the previous year, from 2021. Like my colleague, Ms. Miller, pointed out, this program was meant to provide emergency assistance to small businesses. This might seem like an innocent timing difference to the IRS, and I certainly understand your passion, but I can assure you that the small businesses are hurting and should not be penalized for doing the right thing. I understand there are massive backlogs at the IRS, and there are procedures in place to address these issues. But the small businesses who kept their doors open need certainty that they will receive the credits in a timely manner, and need assurances they will not be penalized. We have reports of penalty notices going out automatically to taxpayers who filed on time but have returns stuck in the backlog. Groups like the AICPA have asked the IRS to consider penalty relief. And I guess my only question is, and I'll give you the remainder of the time to elaborate, are you considering this type of relief for taxpayers who didn't do anything wrong, specifically as it relates to ERTC?
Specifically and generally, that would consider penalty relief. I've said to everybody here, every time I go outside, and I do a lot of external presentations, I'm 36 years a tax lawyer on the outside representing taxpayers, mostly with respect to the IRS and various state taxing agencies. And what I tell the accountants and the lawyers in the world, any conversation I would have with an IRS person going back to February of 2020 would start out with COVID, and it would be COVID in the middle. Our employees have gone through the same thing. Our employees understand. The point on the automated notices, those were stopped. So if somebody has received one recently, I would like to have that notice and find out, because all automated notices stopped months ago. And so we have addressed virtually everything. Nothing is off the table for us to consider. We have regular meetings with people all over, and I think you've heard me say, I know thousands of people on the outside who fortunately, unfortunately, have my non-IRS personal cell phone that I had before.
Would you want to share that? No, I'm
Yeah, really. And by the way, Ms. Miller, thank you for thank you for protecting me from myself, right? But the point being, our ear is to the ground on the front lines in every direction. Internally, you heard me talk about how we're touching our people who are handling the calls, and that's getting to me. Externally, my friends are the people that you're talking about who are on the outside, whether it's small business owners, accountants, enrolled agents, people without a designation or people with a designation. So the understanding is there, the need for the priority and the understanding the need for a priority. I do not anticipate people ending up with a penalty when we had automated that they have to pay.
Mr. Rettig, if I could reclaim my time, we have about a minute left. But I just, to the specifics, because there are a lot of preparers that are watching this video. We're going to make sure that they see this. And I'm not trying to I guess I am trying to put you on the spot. You've been in the business. You've been on the other side representing businesses. All they're asking for is not to be penalized in the liability and the estimates on money they haven't received yet. Now, they understand if they receive the money, it's not they're asking for anything special other than not to be penalized for money they haven't received yet.
The people that provide the letters and that lobby you hard know the answers to the questions they have you ask me.
Oh, listen, sir.
The answer to that is yes.
Sir, there's no letters come to my office. This is people I talk to. I've been in business 35 years. I mean, I've multiple businesses, so this is a personal thing. It should be for everybody.
I'm speaking, when you mentioned AICPA and others,
okay, yeah.
That's what I'm speaking to. And I'm talking to the same people you're talking to. They're not my professional colleagues. They're my friends. These are your friends.
Sure.
Your business. We're all in the same thing. IRS is an agency of people who understand, who've gone through the same thing people on the outside have gone through.
Mr. Rettig, with all due respect, you're not answering the question. Just some consideration, and it's going to get out quickly because we're at the end of the quarter now. So I yield back, Madam Chair.